Hey, hey, hey. Ding, 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 ding. Dynamite. What's up? Welcome back to my second episode of Main Event with me, K.O.D.S. And Main Event is something that I brought to you a few weeks ago. I wasn't able to get the past week or so. Had some issues trying to get everything together and exactly what I want to do. But I'm going to start giving you pre-shows and after show and post-show or one or the other talking about AEW Dynamite. Again, haven't watched wrestling for quite some time, and then I heard about this new promotion called AEW, and it's been pretty darn good, and I like it. So I want to talk about what I like. I love talking 49ers. I do that on the 49 show. That's on this channel, the K.O.D.S. I do podcasts as well, the Great Debate Show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. But right now, I want to start off talking about AEW and, just some of the things that has went on. Some of the things that has went on with AEW over the past few weeks. Fyter Fest was good. Night 1 and 2. They've had a lot of good things going on. Cody, again, doing what he does best, performing magnificent in the ring, in my opinion. The TNT Championship being on the line every single night. I think it's good for TV. It's good for wrestling. Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, still tag team champions. I do think it's time for them to let that go and start their feud between one another. 1 minute we thought we were going to see it, and then they kind of took it away. But I think that they will eventually lose the titles, and I'm hoping it's to Lucha Brothers, but it'll probably be the Young Bucks, possibly even FTR. This is the best tag team division in wrestling. If anybody watches AEW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, if you watch all these promotions, everybody that I've seen from the looks on social media, the comments and things like that, it seems like everybody agrees that AEW has the best tag team action. So with all that being said, tonight is another good night of AEW Dynamite. We're just about 90 minutes, a little less than 90 minutes away from them starting it off. We got a lot of interesting matches. We know Cody will be fighting. He'll be fighting against Warhorse. This is another independent wrestler who's coming in to AEW. Tony Khan has been very, very brilliant in doing this. Not just Cody fighting AEW wrestlers. He's been fighting people, from all over the country. And, of course, there's a lot of travel restrictions to why, everyone can't show up and why certain wrestlers that are signed in the AEW can't show up all the time. But this has just been – they started coming on TV in October, and I've just been very, very happy with what they've been doing. The WWE, if you watch that as well, that's fine. Comment, let me know what you want to hear. If you want to talk, if you want me to discuss what I think and my takes on WWE. Now, my podcast partner, he watches both, and he could definitely give more input on what the WWE is doing. What I want to talk about real quickly is how AEW, for the first time since they've been airing on TV back in last October, they beat NXT, which they've done that a lot of times, but they also beat Raw and SmackDown in the same week. The ratings overall, they beat NXT, and they beat Raw and SmackDown in key demos, in key demographic ratings. So they pretty much had the 18 to 40, 48 on lock as far as the demos go. And, Jericho being a demo god, as he said, he is that. And I'm going to do another video on another day. I want to talk about why Chris Jericho could be the GOAT of wrestling entertainment over the past 2 decades. This is the reason why he probably is now, just because of how he has just, I'll talk about it another time, but he's definitely reinvented himself on several different occasions. Him doing that in another company, him putting the company on his back and things like that. I think that's very, very, very impressive. And I'm not easily impressed. Now, if you want me to talk about certain wrestlers, feel free to comment anytime. Let me know who you would like to who would you like for me to talk about. Hangman Adam Page is one of my favorites. I think that he should be a AEW World Champion, not a tag team champion. It has been a good run. I've enjoyed it. However, I think it's time for them to move on from that. I would love to see Hangman Adam Page become a AEW World Champion. I'm not crazy about the World Champion right now, and that's Jon Moxley. Now, right now, with what's going on, it's hard for him to probably lose that belt. I mean, we knew he wasn't going to lose to Lance Archer. We knew he wasn't going to lose to Brian Cage. And I really wouldn't have mind seeing that because I like Brian Cage. I like Brian Cage already more than Lance Archer. And a lot of that is just his physical specimen, him, and he is pretty athletic and agile in the ring. And then he has Taz with him, And so I've seen some people say that they're trying to do a Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar type thing. I'm not so sure about that. But Taz is doing a wonderful job. And he is just pretty much unscripted, uninterrupted, just going in with these promos, and he is killing it. I love to hear Taz do a promo. I love to hear people like MJF do promos. Probably the best heel in the game right now. And AEW has just been great. They really have. And if you're not watching the pre-show right now, I just want you to, when you tune in, tell me what you think. The feedback is very, very appreciated. And I just want to know what people like to talk about. I go back and forth with a lot of people on Twitter, and it's always nothing but good conversations just to see that there are another, what does AEW get? Anywhere from 600 to 900,000 viewers per week on Dynamite. I thought it was very, very impressive what they did last week, though, beating NXT and Raw and SmackDown. That was very key. Tonight on Dynamite, there is going to be a tornado tag match. There's going to be a 10-man tag match. There's going to be a world tag team title match. And there's going to be a TNT title match. So you got Moxley, Jericho, Cody, Hangman, Omega. Just more action from the AEW. And I'm loving what they're doing. I can't wait till we get some fans back into the crowd, into the seats, because it's just AEW fans were just so geeked up, just so lit. And it's always jumping. I went to one show when they were in my area back in January, and this was right before, a few months before the pandemic hit. And it's just been downhill since then as far as the fans, but they've still done such an amazing job in, making you feel like there's still a crowd there somewhat. Jericho and Orange Cassidy, they're doing their thing. The beef continues. The rival continues. Some interesting news that broke earlier today. Cassidy, I like Cassidy. A lot of people think that they're pushing him a little bit too much, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. Cassidy could have some great matches. And him against Jericho was a good one. He took Jericho to the brink, right to the limit. And he may beat Jericho on the rematch. But moving on, I want to say Matt Hardy announced earlier today. Well, that's when I found out the news. He's killing the broken gimmick for now. A lot of it has to do with the lack of fans, no fans being in the seats, can't get a crowd reaction, just so many reasons on why things aren't going the way they wished, that it would go. And imagine if fans were in the seats when he first appeared on Dynamite. You knew he was coming, but when he showed up, he was in the seats and he was doing his broken gimmick, and it was just, it would have been, the roof would have came off, because they wanted to finally, everybody couldn't wait to see Matt Hardy in AEW, where a promotion would let him be him and let him go with some of his ideas. Same thing for Jon Moxley. Speaking of ideas, he came out today and he took another shot at Vince McMahon. He called Vince a madman. He did. He called Vince McMahon a madman, and I want to make sure that I get it right, what he said. Word for word. Jon Moxley said, basically talking about his days in the WWE. He said that, come on now, let me make sure I get it right. Moxley, he said, pressure is having a 2-page script written by a 74-year-old man that makes no sense to you, that's going to make you look stupid, and you're on worldwide TV live, and you have to memorize every single line and somehow try to pull it off and not look like a total jackass. He also says that that's what pressure really is. A lot of times I did pull that off. A lot of times I didn't. But I'll never have to be in that situation again. Now I just get to be me, and it's a nice feeling. That's words from Jon Moxley throwing a shot at Vince McMahon. I don't have a problem with it at all. Taz has also thrown a shot or two at the WWE with the whole Moxley and his wife Renee Young getting COVID, and they had to push his championship match with Brian Cage a couple of weeks back because he, kept getting tested. And he was negative at all times, but he just said there was some sloppy testing going on in WWE. At one point, they weren't even testing. So I like the shots. MJF even came out and said we're in a ratings war. Then Jericho came out and explained why he's a demo god and how he's the reason for them winning the ratings. I like it. I don't have a problem with it. Just as long as they don't lose focus on what is very key, on what's at hand. Stay focused on what you need to do, and that is continue to keep us tuned in to TNT and not USA. Now, I don't even put my channel on there because I was just very frustrated. If there's any WWE fans watching, which is probably isn't because you saw AEW on the clip here, and I don't think WWE people would have watched would tune in because from what I'm reading on Twitter and everything and social media, fans just seem to just like to bash each other for liking one or the other. And it doesn't have to be like that. There's people that watch both promotions, and that's fine. I just fell out of it because when Edge retired the first time, it did it for me. Then I heard about CM Punk and his pipe bomb, and I tuned in again. And then a few months later, it was like they started out good, but then they found a way to still mess it up, bringing Kevin Nash in and, all those things. He had a good Money in the Bank match with Cena. He left with the title, and he came back a week or two later. I mean, after that, though, I was done because I was tired of them forcing you with Cena. I had been sick of that for years, so I was in and out of wrestling before Edge retired the first time. But it's nothing has been like the Attitude Era. But right now, you're getting, in my opinion, the Attitude Era. In my opinion, that is what AEW is doing right now. You get to hear a few F-bombs. You get to hear a few shits. You get to hear certain things that you're not going to hear on, the USA Network, where they're TV PG, and I think AEW is definitely TV 14. So I like what they're doing, and I love it. So again, Moxley threw a shot at Vince McMahon, rightfully so. Let's just hope that everything goes good with the company and they stay, at the top. And I think that they definitely, these are like auditions now, these Wednesday night dynamites, because when they come back, when this COVID crap goes away, whenever it finally ends, think about how hype the crowd is going to be when they finally can come back to the first live show. Think about the intensity that's going to be in the arena, in the building that they will be at, wherever it is when they finally leave Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. And so it's going to almost be like they're starting over again, but we're still getting these good shows, these good matches. Every week is not good, but then there's some fans that think that they get better every single week. And I like it. I think that they need to push the Lucha Brothers a little bit more. I would love to see them as tag team champions. I know the Young Bucks need to get it at some point, but I think that Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, they went with that a little too long. It's time to end that and start their rivalry. Now, a lot of people are complaining about Brandy Rhodes and, her in-ring skills and, this tag team thing that they're starting up. There has to be a women's tag team championship coming at some point, or they wouldn't start this tag team tournament, this women's tournament. And I actually thought that Nyla Rose, the Native Beast, was going to bring Awesome Kong back, and they were going to be tag team partners, probably get the tag team champions whenever they present those. But then they shocked everybody with Vicki Guerrero came out as her manager. I love that, and I hope to see Vicki and Nyla Rose this week because they didn't show up last week. But the week before, when she came out, I knew it was coming, but I didn't know what they were going to have her do. I was tweeting Vicki Guerrero for general manager. However, she is a manager, which is what she's been great at for a long time. And I'm glad that AEW has let her in because the WWE, being petty as usual, they kicked her out. They pretty much didn't call her back after saying they would we'll call you, don't call us. And then they told their wrestlers, every last one of their wrestlers on their roster, to not do any podcast shows with her anymore. So, which is kind of hurting her money because she can't interview some of those wrestlers. So I'm glad that AEW brought her in. I'm really, really, really loving Tony Khan and what he's been doing. And Sammy Guerrero came back. That's more interesting news. That really was a good one. Kind of a shocker. Nobody knew that was Sammy. And I'm glad to have him back because he is one of the most talented wrestlers in the company. And he has a bright future ahead. I think it's time for Inner Circle to get back to the NWO clique that they were when they first started the show in October. You know, jumping people, just pretty much like a bunch of thugs beating everybody's ass, winning matches, cheating and all those things. They need to start winning more. And they let the Elite have their moment at the Stadium Stampede, you know, back at All Out. But I mean, Double or Nothing. But they definitely, I think it's time for them to win again or break up. And I don't think they're going to break up now after seeing Sammy Guevara come back. So that's the big thing, you know. Will Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, you know, finally break up, you know, and start their epic feud? You know, what else is going to happen? The AEW Women's Tag Cup, you know, some people think it's not the answer. If they bring belts, it makes sense to do it. People just don't really want to see Brandy. It doesn't seem like it. I think, you know, hey, look, Stephanie McMahon got in the ring a lot too. And I mean, you know, I don't know if she's going to be a performer every week in and week out. I don't know if she, you know, is even considered a wrestler on the roster, what she is now. But another interesting thing, a few days ago, Chris Jericho said that a WWE return is not going to happen. That's good to hear as well. He is very committed to AEW, just like he said a year ago when they started this whole thing. He said, I am all in with All Elite. And so that's good news too. Glad to hear it. Orton and Edge playing for WrestleMania 37. Didn't they just fight at WrestleMania 36? Same old tired thing, you know, with with the WWE. And it's just gotten a bit dull, you know, to me. So how do you like the storylines? Where do you want to see some of these wrestlers go? Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite tag team? Who should be champion? Who are they not pushing enough? You know, should Darby Allin be the next TNT champion whenever Cody gives it up? Will Cody be an AEW world champion? How long will Moxley have this? Probably until this pandemic is over. I'm not going to lie, because you want that reaction, that crowd reaction if the titles change hand. Now, I know the TNT championship was presented with no crowd, with no fans, but it was a new belt. For it to change hands, they're probably trying to push this and stretch this thing as long as they can until they can actually get some fans in the arena again. But and one of my favorite, the Dr. Britt Baker, love her heel role, love her arrogance, love her promos, the disrespectful things that she says. I love it. Her and Big Swole are putting together a pretty good rival, and she's on crutches. She's in a wheelchair right now, still injured, but they're still finding ways to keep her, you know, relevant. And so I like that as well. Her and Big Swole doing a good thing. They're going to have some good matches when she gets back on her feet. And that's the only thing that's hurting the roster just a little bit, maybe, if anything, and that's injury, something that you can't control. Chris Statlander is also still out. She should be fighting Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship, but they'll probably let Nyla Rose fight her again. Who knows who a number one contender is going to be, but she is definitely ready for whoever, and she put that challenge out not too long ago. So that's about all I got. Let's see how the show is going to go. We're just a little over an hour away from AEW Dynamite kicking off. AEW Dark was also good last night. It was jam-packed. You had Dark Order. You had FTR. Everybody was out there last night. It was real good. That comes on YouTube on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So I am going to watch AEW. I'm going to get ready for it in the next hour or so. And some people are telling me I should come back and do the post show. And some people are saying, wait, because some people watch NXT first. And, you know, you may want to wait until after they've watched Dynamite. And that's usually at 9 when they start watching it. And they won't be done until maybe 10:30, depending on how much they fast forward it. So if I don't come back tonight with the post show, then I'll be back to talk about what happened tonight tomorrow. AEW Dynamite, you've been watching. Main event, with me, K.O.D.S. I will be back. Peace and love. Ding, ding, ding.